All right, this gentleman that you see before you here, his name is Basil. He came to one of our meetings a couple of years ago, and God did some amazing things for him. And he actually brought a whole family to be prayed for yesterday, Friday. And it was the first time that he actually shared his testimony with me, and I was so blown away by his testimony. I asked him if he would please come tonight and bring with. He told me he's got lots of evidence. I asked him to please come and please
Amen.
with. There we go. All right, now we've got you on the air. Amen.
Hallelujah.
All right, Basil, you came to one of our meetings. How long ago was it?
That was in 2010.
2010, so that's about 3 years ago.
Yes.
All right, what was it that brought you to our meetings?
Okay, I received Christ. I had received Christ in June at the time. I come from KZN, Vryheid. The place is generally known for witchcraft, drunkenness, all those sort of evil stuff. So I also come from a family that was practicing witchcraft, ancestral worship, and all sort of things. I was full of curses. I was a drunkard. My father was a drunkard. My grandfather was a drunkard. My grandmother on my mother's side was a drunkard. They were busy with witchcraft as well. So what was actually happening to me, I think for the 2 years before that, I was actually suffering from psychotic episodes and all of those things. Yes. So as those things were happening, they would generally take me to witch doctors, they would take me to all those sort of things. It happened then at one time in the year 2010, that when it happened, because now I got an understanding that no, this thing is not, it's spiritual, because people will say, no, I'm crazy and all of those things. But I knew inside of me that no, something is wrong here. When I received Christ, Pastor Ndlovu brought me to Riaan. There were meetings there in Brackenhurst. At that time, I was then hearing voices. So I was at work sometimes. When working, I will hear voices. I'm speaking to a customer here, and there's another voice speaking. I'm speaking to head office, and there's another voice speaking. I'm seeing things. I'm jumping up and down. I'm running away. It was all chaotic. And they brought me then to the meeting. When they brought me to the meeting, that pastor that brought me, he told me to bring everything that I was using at that time for bathing, for whatever, those mooches and all those things. And I was carrying it like this. And Riaan looked at me. He was busy ministering to the people. And then Pastor Ndlovu, he called him. He told me, this is a gentleman that I've brought. He prayed for me. Okay, the first time I did not have those things. He prayed for me. Then I went home. I couldn't sleep. I was fighting with devils, I think, for almost 2 weeks without sleep. I was seeing these things, fighting these things, but nothing was happening. I went to the doctors. They scanned my brain. This is what they found. They say I had it's neurocystic psychosis. There's a doctor there in Albertina. This is Dr. Manevik. They said I had neurocystic psychosis. So if they explain, they say this thing is like, ringworms. Yeah. So they say in the brain there are ringworms. And these things, it grows by time, all of those things. And I started having epileptic seizures and all of those things. I was put under medication. Right? God saved, then went to the meetings. I was prayed for. The first time, I did not have the bag. This thing continuously spoke. And Pastor Ndlovu said to me, hey, do you still have anything that connects you to the devil? It cannot be that they pray for you and still you cannot sleep. I said, yes, hey, there's a lot of stuff that I used to use. They said, hey. Then I took that stuff, then I went to the meeting. Riaan didn't even pay attention to it. He saw it, he said, no, you must go burn that rubbish. So he prayed for me. After the meeting, then we drove with Pastor Ndlovu, we burned those things. And the voices were silenced. That is number one. Number two, you see can you show them the packets of, these are the medications that I was taking. You have Epilem 200, CR200, you have Epilem 500, you have Samuel haloperidol, you you have a 0.25, which exactly was for, you see. So I had lost a job, nothing was working for me. But God restored me. He gave me a job as a branch manager. The doctor was saying to me, I will never be able to work or manage people. I will never be able to. There is a letter that is written there saying that I will never be able to study. Tomorrow morning, I'm graduating there in UJ. Amen. And then now,
can I share what this one actually says? They were trying to do a brain scan on him, and all they could come up with here is that the patient is totally psychotic and he would not lie still in the machine for any length of time. Diagnostic scans could not be done. He was too loopy for the machine. Yeah. All right, so you brought a whole bunch of files here. Can we show the people that, and then you just tell them a little bit about that?
Yes, it's fine.
All right, what was this file? This one here?
This one is the hospital file. I think it's written non-psychotic.
All right, so this one actually diagnoses you as having psychotic episodes, etc., etc., things like that. What are the other files that you brought for us? There's your brain scans.
These are the brain scans showing those things that they see.
All right, if you like, afterwards, if you want to come and have a look and see all the stuff that he had in his brain, you're welcome to come and you can come and have a look at it.
So now it's no more. Jesus saved me, he cleansed me, and he delivered me.
Amen! Wow. Now, I want to ask you a question. That night when you came to the church and we prayed for you, try and explain to them what happened, what you experienced, etc., etc.
Okay, I'll start at the beginning. I did not have a car at the time. So I was trying to go catch a taxi. You see, that one is funny. So as I went out of the house, and I hear these things down. They say, don't you ever go. Don't you ever go. You must not go there.
This is now the voice talking to you.
Those were the
voices. The devil is not happy that he's coming to church.
You must not go. You must not even touch that, because I did not know Riaan. It's Pastor Andrew that knew Riaan, who was taking him. So I was going to meet him in Albertine. Then we were going to drive with his car to Brackenhurst. And they said, you must not even shake the hand of that pastor. And I went. So they kept on scaring me that, you see, this taxi that you are in is going to overturn. And I said, no, let's wait. Yes. And then when I met Pastor Andrew, this thing continued to speak. They continued to speak. I went into them. So they made it a point that I couldn't actually focus on what was being said in the meeting, on what was being preached. So like in my eyes, I would like see these things, there's something trying to scare me. But when I was prayed for, it just became quiet. Okay? Then I got home. So when I got home, I think now, because now I understand and I have a bit of revelation about these things. I think when I got home, it was because there were things that were there. So when I go to sleep and these things started again.
You still had the witchcraft and the muti and all the stuff in your room.
Those things, yes.
You hadn't burnt them yet.
Yes. Then the following week, then I came and I came with it, and then we burnt it. And from ever since then, it was quieted. From ever since
Amen.
then, Jesus did.
Amen. Come, give the Lord a nice big hand. Well, you know what? That's amazing. How many of you know that God is still the healer? Amen. Jesus is still the deliverer. Amen. And that for God nothing is impossible. Amen. You know, what I like about his testimony is that the worldly system had told him that it's over for him. He will never work again. His life is never going to go forward. They gave him a death sentence. How many of you know that Jesus came to bring life and life more abundantly? Basil, are you living a good life now? Well, praise God for that. Basil, what would you say to people that tell you that demons aren't real?